In 2023, on the steps of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, an elderly man with white hair stood beside a 9-year-old boy. Together, they recited words that have inspired generations.
But you gotta be willing to take that hit! Stop pointing fingers at people saying you ain't where you want to be! Whether him, her, or anybody!
But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you! You're better than that!
That man was Sylvester Stallone, and that moment, passing the torch to a new generation, perfectly captures everything his life represents. This is the story of a street kid who became a cinematic legend, a man who turned his greatest weakness into his greatest strength, and an actor who proved that Hollywood's rules were made to be broken. 1946, New York City. Sylvester Stallone was born into a world that didn't welcome him kindly. His birth was complicated. Forceps used during delivery severed a nerve in his face, leaving him with permanent paralysis on the left side. His eye drooped, his lip curled, his speech was slurred. In the schoolyard, they called him names. In a world obsessed with perfection, Stallone was anything but. But instead of breaking, he built. He started lifting weights, transforming his body into armor, and he discovered something that would change everything: movies. While other kids dreamed of being athletes or businessmen, young Sly dreamed of being on the screen. He watched Steve Reeves in Hercules and knew, somehow, someday, that would be him. But Hollywood wasn't waiting. For years, Stallone took any role he could get. He was an extra, a thug, a guy who got killed in the first 5 minutes. He slept in bus stations. He sold his dog for $50 just to survive. Don't worry, he bought the dog back later when he made it big. By 1975, he was 29 years old, broke, and watching his dream slip away. Then one night, everything changed. March 24, 1975, Madison Square Garden. An unknown boxer named Chuck Wepner stepped into the ring with the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Everyone expected a first-round knockout. Instead, Wepner lasted 15 rounds, and even knocked Ali down once. Stallone watched that fight, and something clicked. He saw himself in Wepner, the nobody, the underdog, the guy who wouldn't stay down. He went home and wrote 3 days, 20 hours a day. The result was a script called Rocky. The story was simple. A small-time boxer gets a shot at the heavyweight title. But it was more than that. It was Stallone's own story. His struggles, his pain, his refusal to quit. When producers offered him $350,000 for the script, Stallone should have taken it. That money would have changed his life. But there was one condition: he couldn't star in it. Stallone said no. Instead, he took $35,000 and a guarantee that he would play Rocky Balboa. It was a crazy gamble. His wife thought he was insane. His friends told him he was throwing away his one shot. But Stallone believed. December 3, 1976. Rocky hit theaters. Made for just $1 million, the film exploded. Audiences didn't just watch Rocky, they became Rocky. When he ran up those Philadelphia Museum steps, arms raised in victory, people cried. When he went the distance with Apollo Creed, people cheered. The final numbers? $225 million worldwide, 10 times its budget. And at the 49th Academy Awards, Rocky won Best Picture, beating out Taxi Driver, Network, and All the President's Men. Overnight, Sylvester Stallone went from a nobody to one of the biggest stars on the planet. But here's the thing about Hollywood: they don't want artists, they want products. And once they have a winning formula, they want you to repeat it forever. The Rocky sequels came fast. Rocky II, 1979, Rocky III, 1982. Each one made money, but something was happening. Stallone was becoming a cartoon. The vulnerable underdog was turning into an invincible superhero. And then, just when everyone expected Rocky IV, Stallone did something nobody saw coming. 1982, First Blood. Stallone didn't play a boxer. He played John Rambo, a Vietnam veteran haunted by a war nobody wanted to talk about. The film wasn't about winning championships. It was about a broken man trying to find his place in a country that had abandoned him. The most powerful scene wasn't an action sequence. It was Rambo break down in front of his former commander, crying, "They drew first blood, not me." That scene hit hard because it was real. In the early 80s, America was finally starting to confront the trauma of Vietnam. Stallone gave that pain a face. He turned an action movie into a commentary on PTSD, on the treatment of veterans, on the cost of war. Critics who had dismissed him as a meathead had to reconsider. This wasn't just an action star. This was an actor who understood human suffering. First Blood spawned, 2010. At 64 years old, when most action stars have long retired, Stallone had a crazy idea. What if he gathered every action legend from the 80s and 90s, Schwarzenegger, Willis, Lundgren, Lee, Statham, and made one massive movie? The Expendables wasn't just a film. It was a statement. It was Stallone saying, "We're not done yet." The movie grossed $274 million worldwide and proved there was still an appetite for old-school action. No CGI, no capes, just muscle, sweat, and practical effects. But the real magic came 5 years later, 2015. Team Creed. Stallone didn't just return to the Rocky franchise, he reinvented it. This time, Rocky wasn't the fighter. He was the trainer, standing in the corner, watching a new generation take the spotlight. And in that role, Stallone gave the performance of his life. He wasn't playing a hero anymore. He was playing a man facing his own mortality. A man who had lost his wife, his health, his purpose, and found new meaning in helping someone else achieve their dream. The result? A Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor, an Oscar nomination, and the respect of an industry that had underestimated him for decades. 2022, 76 years old, Tulsa King, playing a mafia capo trying to build a new criminal empire in Oklahoma. Stallone proved he could still command the screen, still make audiences laugh, still make them care. Sylvester Stallone's story isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. He was told he couldn't act because of his face. He was told he couldn't write because he didn't have the education. He was told he couldn't star in his own movie because nobody knew his name. At every turn, Hollywood tried to put him in a box, and at every turn, he broke out of it. From Rocky to Rambo to Creed, Stallone has given us characters who refuse to quit. Characters who take the hits and keep moving forward. And in doing so, he taught us something about ourselves. Because here's the truth, we all have something that makes us feel like underdogs. We all have moments when we want to stay down. And when we watch Stallone's characters rise up, we're reminded that we can rise too. Back on those Philadelphia steps in 2023, as the 9-year-old boy threw his punches in the air, Stallone smiled. The Rocky era may be ending, but the spirit, the refusal to stay down, the belief that tomorrow can be better than today, that lives on. It ain't about how hard you hit. No, Sly, it never was. It's about having the guts to step into the ring in the first place.